The voice of sharing. 旅人ASEAN.
ASEAN Breakfast Call. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey Grace, how are you?
I am good. How are you, Arlene?
Oh, I am fantastic.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Every morning I'm great because, of course, we are going to share with you guys all the news from Southeast Asia.
But today you're extraordinarily excited.
I'm so excited because, well, in reality, I'm actually more excited of ASEAN.
Yes, that's true.
Because one thing I'm looking forward for Malaysia being the chairman of ASEAN 2015, but I'm also excited for the new logo that has just been created at Naypyidaw.
Yes, it's really, really colorful.
Yeah, and apparently the new logo and motto will bring out the essence of ASEAN, the ASEAN integration that everyone is looking forward towards.
And then also ASEAN 2015 has its motto saying our people, our community, our vision. So that specifically reflects the unity and also progress in the region.
So Grace, I know you are not a Malaysian. I always have to emphasize your Korean roots. But what do you think of this logo? Because if you look at it, the logo has curved elements which surrounded the logo and were arranged in an atom molecule loop to symbolize the progress of ASEAN countries.
That definitely reflects what Malaysia wants to focus on in 2015 when it comes to ASEAN. And then definitely they want to focus on all the science and technology.
Which is interesting, right? Because
Very.
I love science. And of course, we love technology.
Yes. And then just to explain further, these 10 circles and then the curves forming a ring around this logo reflects how 10 people in the 10 member countries work together in friendship and harmony to achieve and also with the shared visions.
And on the choice of color, red was chosen to reflect the fearless nature of ASEAN members country, where yellow is reflected for prosperity and blue represents peace.
Yeah, and we have two more colors, green and purple. Green shows the friendliness among ASEAN countries. And lastly, purple symbolizes wealth, wisdom, and intelligence.
So which color that you prefer the most?
Actually, I'm a big fan of purple and brown. But brown is not here, unfortunately.
So I guess you like wealth, wisdom, and intelligence.
Oh, if you want to define from there, I guess I need to follow those.
Well, one thing for sure that the focus of Southeast Asia in the next couple of years post-ASEAN 2015 will be about science and technology. That's for sure, because in order for ASEAN nations to be able to develop to a state where it is able to prosper, to gain peace, is not just to correct the system, the political system especially, and also to ensure that economically it is based on a system where everyone has an equal chance to prosper. It's also because in order for us to upgrade ASEAN nations to the Southeast Asian nations to the next level, science and technology has to be the core of investment by all countries within this region.
And then not only that, I mean, science and technology will bring and also boost up the economic growth among those regions. But I'm very curious and very excited to see the relationship that will be built between countries to countries.
So that brings us back to how can each individual countries improve their economic scorecard. When it comes to economic scorecard, there's a report about Malaysia, because Malaysia is still setting its goal to improve its economic scorecard under the ASEAN blueprint. Apparently, we haven't totally achieved 100% of all the economic scorecard that we need to improve.
And then also Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad mentioned that Malaysia was now ranked 6th among the 10 ASEAN countries in the AEC's economic scorecard.
Currently at 83.9% with 70 out of 436 variable measures still not being implemented, unfortunately.
This is still under negotiation, how it is going to come about. These variables, among others, they fell under the different categories, measures like trade in goods, elimination of non-tariff barriers, service liberalization, and the non-ratification of agreement, and involving many sectors as well.
There's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of efforts that need to be pushed forward.
Definitely.
But our meaty Minister, Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad, is actually very, very confident to at least able to implement half of the 70 unimplemented variables in 6 months' time or middle of next year to improve the country's ranking. So from number 6, we should have been either number 1 or number 2.
Number 1.
Yes, Singapore.
That sounds very ambitious. Yes, Singapore was the one that came to my mind as well. And also Mustafa, he also mentioned that it was very important for ministries and agencies to undertake the coordinated effort towards creating greater awareness of various initiatives among stakeholders under their responsibilities. And also he added by saying another issue being discussed at the meeting was outreach programs that to elevate the level of awareness among the people on AEC's opportunities.
And it is also hoping that various agencies and, of course, when it comes to the government, to listen to the concern among the people on the perceived threat that AAC might pose. I think it's a great move. It's definitely important that ministers and agencies to undertake a coordinated effort towards creating greater awareness of the various initiatives among stakeholders under their responsibilities. So in the sense that MITI has organized various, if not hundreds, of outreach programs covering trade and industry associations, small and medium enterprises, school and university students, non-governmental organizations, civil society, media like us, and grassroots level. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of efforts that the government has done. But at the same time, it's still a long way to go.
Yes.
Yeah, the awareness is still not there yet, unfortunately. Well, our Minister of Trade is working hard in Malaysia. In Indonesia, Jokowi is working even harder. Apparently, one of the main focus of Jokowi right now is to fix its economy. Indonesia's economy has been on the low since 10 years ago.
That's correct.
So it needs to boost out. It needs to be one of the best in Southeast Asia.
Yes, and after the Joko Widodo has become
Say it
the
again.
president, Joko Widodo has become president of Indonesia. He has actually announced and introduced a few steps to improve the quality of life in Indonesia as well as economic growth. And it has become quite slow, but then also very steady at the same time. And one of it is he has unveiled the increase in the price of subsidized fuel.
It's actually decreased the price of subsidized
yes,
fuel.
that's correct. Yes. And then also taking a risky and unpopular first step towards the fixing this in the Southeast Asia's top economy.
I don't know if you realize or not, but Malaysia did cut, I think 20 cents
yeah.
of subsidy for fuel, and people were berserk. People were like, why is this happening? You have no right to cut our fuel. But actually, the government will be saving 21 billion. I'm talking about Malaysia. Malaysian government will be saving 21 billion ringgit by cutting 20 cents of the fuel subsidy. While in Indonesia, it's the same case as well. They will save a lot of money by cutting 30% of the fuel subsidy which they had done. And actually, this has somehow welcomed by economists, though might risk denting the new president's popularity. So far, it seems like people are actually okay about it. They are fine that the government has done that.
Well, it definitely has been, and one of the controversial issues in Indonesia. And economists truly have been waiting and calling for the payout that gobbled up a huge chunk of the state budget to be reduced. And then, however, the large sections of the public are against any decrease in the fuel.
Definitely. I think it's not a populist move, even in Malaysia. In fact, in the past, if you look at the history of Indonesia, there were violent protests and even stone throwing by youth briefly clashed with security forces in a traditional protest hotspots before the announcement. But announcement of the subsidy fuel price cut. However, most part of Indonesia will actually come and had been expected for weeks, and television news channel focused their attention on queues of cars and motorcyclists waiting to fill up on cheap fuel before midnight.
And also, it is seen as urgently needed boost to an economic in Indonesia that is expanding at the slowest pace for the 5 years, and with the growing slipping to 5.01% on year in the third quarter.
So actually, it's a great thing, right? I mean, even though he cut subsidy, unlike last time where there were a lot of violence, this time actually people were queuing for cheap oil, and there were not that many protests. The only protest that was documented was a small demonstration a small protest in Surabaya city on Java Island. Other than that, it's quite peaceful.
So the president is focusing on the other areas rather than the money being wasted on the first subsidies. The budget has to be for infrastructure, education, and health as well.
Sorry, I missed out. Besides Surabaya, there are another two places where there were protests. Another one is Makassar, and the other is Central Sulawesi. But the rest of Indonesia, which is quite huge, are relatively peaceful. So when it comes to fixing the economy, of course, the other main thing that you need to focus the most is to improve FDI, foreign direct investment, and also to have all these foreign companies, not just to invest but also to develop the economic structure of the nation. And Myanmar has done it. Apparently, Mitsubishi, Jelux, and Yoma will be operating in Myanmar's second largest airport.
Pronounce Mitsubishi again.
Mitsubishi. Grace,
it's Mitsubishi.
I will never be a Japanese. My pronunciation sucks.
It's alright. It's Japanese after all. Yeah. So this Mitsubishi Corporation and Jaluk Inc. will partner with the Myanmar's Yoma Strategic Holdings Ltd. to operate Myanmar's second largest airport. Definitely, Myanmar has a lot of potential. And then after it has opened the gate to welcome all those foreign investors, a lot of investors indeed are coming in to this country to look for opportunities.
Yeah, because the airport in the future will be booming. That is the main justification. It will be a central for international flights. And people are expecting this because the current flight in Yangon is actually quite small and it's not really tourist friendly. Or, I mean, if you want to be a hub for international trade, you have to have a world-class airport, and Myanmar is on the way there. It's not yet, but it's on the way. And Myanmar is also planning to privatize operations at smaller domestic airports and is currently accepting applicants.
Now, that's really great. And also the Mandalay Airport partnership will generate further expansion of domestic and international flight, like you mentioned. And also he added by saying that it's from the company Mitsubishi. Mandalay Airport currently has capacity to handle 3 million passengers a year, but only serviced 750,000 in 2013.
Of all the number that you mentioned just now, only 190,000, which is probably around less than 30% of the passengers on the international flights, and the rest were domestic. The airport currently connects to 4 international and 11 domestic destinations. So it is a part of a plan to overhaul of the country's air network. Myanmar has an air accident rate 9 times the world average. So they are not that skilled yet at maneuvering the airplanes and controlling the airports.
It's got a really positive movement, and also if you're looking further, there will also build another bridge between Japan and Myanmar, the nation to nation itself.
And talking about Japan, not Mitsubishi, I'm talking about the Japanese International Corporations Agency. It has provided a grant on installing a safety equipment at 6 airports with Japan's Sumitomo Corporation, so cute, as the prime contractors. Akihito Sanjo, he's a Yangon-based representative of the agency. He spoke about it in an interview a few days ago.
And also, the Japanese International Corporate Agency was asked to install the wide-range radar system at the main airport in the commercial capital, Yangon.
So all in all, it's actually quite promising. I think when it comes to Myanmar's economic development, it's definitely going towards the right direction. It's just the only problem that Myanmar has, and it definitely need to stand out on its own people, is it needs to clean out its human rights violation records. It's really, really bad, and it's not helping with its economic vision.
And that's a very dark side of Myanmar that has been carrying for
Myanmar
decades.
has done quite good economically. It just needs to clean out its human rights track records. And on the other side of the world, which is our neighboring region, not really region, but an island, Hong Kong. As you all know, Occupy Hong Kong, a lot of teenagers setting up tents, and a lot of them are still protesting after 2 months. They are standing on its own feet, wanting the government to not follow what Beijing wants them to do.
Yep.
But things got a bit tense up. So Hong Kong protesters actually broke into government building as the tension within the ground flare up.
Yes, that's correct. The tension is built again. And then, like you mentioned, one of the actually few protesters broke into the city's the government side door. That happened on the Wednesday.
So the flare up came just hours after court bailiff managed to clean parts of a protest camp in the heart of the city that has been occupied by pro-democracy demonstrators for nearly 2 months. So it seems like you don't you don't disturb this protester. Once you disturb, they will be angry at you.
And also, they have been demanding and shouting for free elections for the city's next leader in 2017. And in fact, it was the first time protesters had broken into a key public building, and defying that the expectations of the many political analysts who had predicted that Hong Kong's most tenacious and protracted protest movement would slowly wind down.
So they are wrong. Apparently, it's getting worse.
It doesn't seem that it's dying down.
It's not. It's just waiting for things to happen, and it will reorganize again and becomes bigger. But a democratic lawmaker at the scene said that, his name is Fernando Cheung, the protester has tried to stop the small group of radical activists from breaking through, and he mentioned that it is a very, very isolated incident. He thinks that it is very unfortunate, and this is something that the Hong Kong people do not want to see happen again, because the movement so far has been very peaceful. In fact, it's one of the most peaceful demonstration ever. There are a lot of Western media, including Asian media, that were commenting this is one of the most obedient protest demonstration that ever happened, probably in history.
However, the protesters have become quite vocal, and that they have been demanding on the clean and then open nominations in the city's next election for chief executive in 2017.
So apparently the one country, two system formula that has been governing Hong Kong and China since 1997 might crumble. We hope that it doesn't. We hope that Hong Kong will remain democratic and independent from China. Anyway, from Hong Kong, as I mentioned about China is putting a blame on us. When I say us, meaning Southeast Asian.
Because we are part of them.
Apparently China is blaming us for the rising in violence on drug smuggling from Southeast Asia. They say that their people are getting drunk and violent because of us. Do you agree with that?
Okay, as much as it sounds ridiculous, in the first 9 months of this year, police recorded more than 100 incidents of violent crime blame on this drug called methamphetamine, and more than the total number has seen in the previous 5 years.
So it has a rise in violent crime in China this year, according to a state-run newspaper reported last few days ago. And in the first 9 months of the year, police recorded more than 100 incidents of violent crimes. And it is also it seems like China is definitely facing a grim task in curbing synthetic drugs, including ice, which more and more of China's drug addicts tend to use.
Compared to the in terms of population-wise, China has huge populations, and then the amount of drugs that they will be importing from other countries, they cannot simply blame on the Southeast Asia.
I'm actually quite confused with this news because firstly, they are blaming Southeast Asia. Secondly, there's a rise in the use of synthetic drugs compared to traditional drugs such as heroin and opium. Methamphetamine can easily lead to mental problems. Perhaps that's the reason why China is very concerned about this, and they are just looking for a ship to be blamed. And it's not that what they say is unfounded, because they have been working with countries like Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand, and cooperate with these countries to tackle the problem.
And also, if you look at the number of people, it was suspected of having 14 million drug users, 5 times more than the official numbers. And also, about the half of them use methamphetamine, which is quite a large number of who are actually addicted to this drug, and also importing this drug from other countries as well.
And how it is being smuggled? So it is usually being smuggled to China via China's southwestern province of Yunnan and region of Guangxi, both of which border Southeast Asia. It's interesting. I would assume that synthetic drugs production will be centered in China rather than Southeast Asia, but I guess I'm wrong.
But here we can't also ignore the few more updates that the government has in recent months stepped up its fight against this problem, arresting the string of celebrities, including the son of Hong Kong kung fu movie star Jackie Chan. Actually, it was reported a few weeks ago that his son was actually found out to addicted to the drugs.
So my solution to this, plant some drugs at your backyard, natural drugs like marijuana, so you don't have to waste money on these synthetic drugs.
Marijuana will cause another problem, Arlene. It's also part of drugs.
Well, to be fair, in some Western countries, they do allow a small dosage of natural drugs.
For medical usage.
For medical and also for recreational purposes. So, yeah, just think about it. China, you might want to follow the path of Holland.
And then always remember moderation.
Well, we are at the end of our discussion, but before we end, I just want to highlight this one piece of news, which I thought is kind of interesting. Probably you would think as well, is Malaysian youngsters. Apparently, we like WeChat.
Oh, I like the approach they use, include us as well.
Oh my God, we are not young anymore.
Because this WeChat, it's also something like WhatsApp, Viber, all those chat applications that we like to download, and we can use it for free to transfer our messages, photos, videos. And apparently in Malaysia, the youngsters are using WeChat more than WhatsApp.
I don't actually use WeChat. I have to admit that.
Me neither.
But apparently, the global active user base of WeChat is between 16 to 24 years old. No wonder I'm not part of the demographic. So about 80% of this age group users say it's critical for them to be contactable at all times. And WeChat being a social media provider that is actually offering more privacy to chat together with their friends, and compared to Facebook, it is actually more fun to use and free to, and is of course it's free of charge. But when it's stated that more fun to use, what exactly it means? You did a bit of research, right? Why WeChat is
there are a few features that that will attract especially youngsters, which are like group messaging is one of them. Video call, of course. Video call is something that WhatsApp can't do at the moment, and then they can actually hold to talk. Hold to talk means they can actually use it as a walkie-talkie. That function. And of course they have very cute emoticons. WhatsApp has a very standard emoticons that we can use, but it apparently WeChat has more kinds of emoticons that youngsters would like to use, all those cute ones. And then of course you have a social network integration like Facebook Connect. You can connect it to Facebook. And of course you can capture the moments. Of course they will have photos. And this is very interesting. It's called Look Around. Look Around feature is it helps to see who's around you while you're chatting with your friend. So you can look at the active WeChat users in particular area, and you can connect with them.
So it's a version of Tinder, I guess. Anyway, we have to wrap up. But yeah, continue using WeChat and let us know why you love WeChat if you are a fan of WeChat. You can always connect us via Facebook and Twitter. Perhaps next time WeChat. Who knows, right?
Yeah, they will have a Durian ASEAN on the top of the WeChat application. And also don't forget to download our TuneIn app and find us Durian ASEAN.
Thank you.
Bye.